Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Micks Mowers, and today is very cold. It's very cold in here today, but we're not going to be inside, we're going to be outside today. Today I want to have a quick look at Mrs. P's Citroen Picasso Grand C4. It's about minus 1 degrees over here, and the air conditioning is not working, the heater blower is not working on her car. So I'll have a quick look at it because I want to try and diagnose it before I sort of say, okay, it's going to have to go into a garage and cost hundreds of pounds. I've done a bit of research, and some of my buddies on YouTube, Ali Mac and one or two others, have said this is possible. It is, Mick, have a look. I just want to put a quote out there now. I'm not a mechanic. All I am is I'm a have-a-goer, so I'm willing to have a go at something, take it apart, have a look, as you all know. So we're going to get down and get dirty, go around the front of the house, get all set up, and I'm going to remove the part of the dash and remove the heater blower and the resistor. Try and test them if I can to see what's going on, and hopefully one of those two parts is going to be the issue to the car. I looked at another video, and apparently we had the same fault where the two rubber elbows get blocked up inside the bulkhead, and when it rains it puts water into the engine, into the cockpit of a car, into the floor pans. Now we had that problem last year, and the front of the car was filling up with water. So I managed to diagnose that fault and get that sorted, took all the car mats out, cleaned it all up. But on the video on YouTube, someone said if you have that problem, then sometimes the moisture sits inside the blower housing motor, right where the bearing is, and over time it rusts and it seizes up. And that's what sort of has happened, I think, is that the heater was working, and over time it's become less and less reliable. And every time you used to give the top of a dash a thump, I think it used to shock the motor into running, and it would run for a little while, but now it's got to a stage where it's not doing either. So it may be a question of I won't be able to fix it at all, but I'll have to order new motor, possibly new resistor, but I want to see if I can have a go at it first, save myself a couple of £100. So without further ado, let's get down and dirty and let's check out this Grand C4 Picasso. Right, here's the old Citroen. Not my favourite car in the world, but it does us. So what we're getting is over here, turn the car on, and the ignition comes and all that sort of good stuff, and then see the fan's already on, full belt. The directioner is working. I can hear that moving. That's all work, I can hear that. That's doing its job. So it's not a directional thing, but literally the fan is trying to work, but nothing. It just will not cut in. There's something working in there, I can hear it in the background. So what we can do is we're going to get down in here, up inside, and we'll have a look to see what's going on with the blower housing and that sort of stuff. So let me get some tools out. I'll get my old hands and knees, and we'll have a quick look to see how quick I can get this heater blower system out, and possibly the resistor as well, and we'll go from there. Let's try and get a bit of light on the old subject. So you've got this one here to remove. You've got you've got three of these, I think they're three of these little tiny tabs, one here, one there, and one at the far end. And all you do is you just get a flat-headed screwdriver up under this bit, you pull the middle bit out, or down. Let me try and do it so you can see. You pull the middle bit down, like so. Like that. Hang on, let me show you. Like that. Pull the middle bit down, and then that bit then should all pop out. That's the theory, just like that. You've got three of them to do. Let's get them removed, and then we'll start to remove some of this this panelling. I just went to grab a bit of light as well. So I've got that big screw there to remove at the back, just here. That's got to come out. That remove this side panel. You've got a Torx bit over there you may need to remove as well, to remove that bit of panelling. And then hopefully we should start to free some of this stuff up. What I'm after is getting some of this upside down, this panel here out, and then eventually this half face as well. That's the idea. So I'll undo a few more screws, bits and pieces. I mean, a lot of it's common sense. Just wherever it's hooked up, just try and fish it out. So we'll go from there. Okay, so pretty much as I said, that one screw there has got to come out, which I've taken out, and that Torx bit has got to come out as well. Sorry for the jerkiness of the camera, but I'm working inside on the floor here. So remove that Torx, as I said, that big screw, and then three up the top here. And then this, I think, that should give you this whole panel should come out. Yeah, it does. Lovely. So that's one bit. It's cool. Let's have a quick look up on the side to see how we're looking. And there's a heater blower system just there. There she is. So that's cool. So what have we got up in here? Let's have a little look. We've got one bolt here where my finger is. There's a heater resistor as well. One bolt up over it, top side. Probably one up the back we can't get to, more likely. One just here. So 3 or 4 bolts. They look to be about 6mm, I'd say. I'm gonna undo them and then try and drop this this heater system out. If I come across any other snags or anything different, I'll let you know. But it's not showing any signs of any electrical damage I can see off the bat. So we'll get these little bolts undone and I'll come back to you. Right, those bolt sizes are 5.5. There's one there. That's got to come off. This one here's got to come off as well. And I suspect there to be one round the back somewhere where I can't get to. There's one here as well, just there, just behind the resistor. Get them undone, and I'm hoping that will just drop straight down. That's the theory. But I've had theories before like that where it didn't happen. So I'll get them undone, and just before I drop it out, I'll come back. Right, it has loosened off, but there is one more nut to take out, and I can't see it. It's right around the back here somewhere. Let me try and get a light on it. There it is there, see it? Right at the back. So there's 4 to take out to drop this mower out. And once that's undone, you can see the motor's already loose. But before I take that line out, I'll take some photographs of these cables so I know exactly what goes where and what does what. Then I can then just release a whole lot out and we'll go from there. Right, I think I've got the lights in the way. I think I've got the 4 bolts out now that constitute holding it all in. I'm having problems removing this plug, but hopefully I should have enough slack when it comes out. And I haven't tried to pull it out, it's just sitting there I think. So let's have a, there she goes. So that's the heater blower out, which is cool. There she be, there she blows. But I need to get that plug off before I tear it off, which is going to be that one just there. Got to take that off and then we'll have the motor out and we'll see what's occurring. Okay, without my fat finger being in the way, to remove this little tiny plug you've got to push that little tiny tab down. I think down, it did just move a minute ago. Yeah, push that down and then that plug will then start to retract with that little tiny tab pushed down. Like so, there she goes. And that should be the entire heater blower out. And straight off the bat, there's not a lot, there's quite a bit of resistance actually. Yeah, there is. Let's get it in the shed and we'll have a little look at it. Right, we're in the old shack. I've just put the old fire on because it is proper nippy out here. Quick sip of my old coffee. So off the bat, the first thing I'm going to say is that the resistor looks rather well cooked to me. It's showing signs of age, corrosion and what have you. So I'm going to take the resistor out in a bit, and also I'm going to take these little tiny bolts off there, just because I want to see what the bottom of this bearing looks like. So these are something I've not seen before. Oh, I might have something to fit it if it's a 6. I've got a feeling it's going to be a lot smaller. I've got these I've picked up. I've had these years and never really used them. And that fits, look at that, how lucky am I? I got these from Halfords I think a while back. Let's put a bar on it. And then I want to see if it's got any moisture in the back side of this, where the bearing is, because there is a little bit of resistance on the blower, and I think what's happening is when you had it on full belt and you give it a thump on the dashboard, it shocked it into working. That's what I think's happened. Because although it is spinning, see that resistance, look, there is quite a bit of resistance there, so you can spin it, but it doesn't take long to stop. So I think that's the issue, although I could be wrong. So let me just try and fish this little motor out of here. I might remove some more plugs, possibly. Take that one off. I don't suppose it matters which way around it goes. And what I'm going to try and do is fish this system out of the casing. Apparently it does come out. So there's a lot of corrosion here, you see, and that, you know, that shouldn't be getting corrosion on there. So once I get this out, I'll come back. I'll let you know how I get on and how I did it. Well, I'm making some small progress, and I think it is a question of gently catch a monkey, I think. But it does seem to be coming up, I would say. I might get a little screwdriver in the back of that just to help that up, because I can see the back of the bearing now. So I might just fish that in there, just to give it a bit of a tease up. There should be nothing holding it on now. I don't think there is. I don't think the resistor holds anything. I don't believe that comes out either. So I think we are winning. It has raised up already. It's just getting this plug to go. There you go. To go past it. There you go. Okay. Let me move these t-shirts out of the way. I don't want them getting covered in grease and stuff. Now, from what I saw, I would say that's absolutely fine. This is nowhere near as rusty as one I saw on a previous video. However, it is showing signs of lots of corrosion. The ports look good. So I'm going to give it a bit of a WD-40, because there's a bit of resistance there. Not a lot. There's a little bit, but I'm guessing that my issue actually is going to be this chap here. There goes my squirrel. This chap here, this little resistor. I think that's going to be the problem unit that's causing the issue, I would say. But let's give it a squirt up anyway. Let's give it a bit of a happy birthday, as I call it. I don't want to give it too much, because I don't suppose it's supposed to have any liquid in there. I'm going to use a nylon side of a brush, not a wire brush. Just let that penetrate for a bit, just to see if I can't get it to spin a bit more freely, because it is just a resistor module that fires the fan, and if there is too much load going on because the fan is not quite running as freely as it should do, they won't fire the fan as it sees a fault. And I'm hoping that's what it is. I think what I'm going to do it regardless is I'm going to buy a new motor and a new resistor. You can buy a complete kit. I think that's what I'm going to do. But as you can see, this is already cleaner than what it was. Just want to try and get it to run a bit more freely than what it already was. I don't want to put no grease in there, because this is going to rotate at quite a speed. You could probably put some high temperature grease in there, which I don't have. So I just want to try and let that work into there. Try and do its business. Rotate it a few times, and I'm going to try and refit it, just to see. I'm going to try and test the resistor as well, see what the resistor's doing. I've got to find out how to do that first. But there should be a way of testing the resistance with a multimeter, I dare say. But it's all doing what it should be doing. That centre shaft is staying where it is, and on the video that I saw, that was all locked up, and the bloke had to shock it, I believe, with a punch on the top. His was really badly corroded, but mine is showing signs of corrosion. I could also put a battery on here and just power the pump up by hand to see if the pump actually is see if it's actually working or not. I might do that as well before I refit it. Just hook it up to the mains, positive and negative on there. I don't suppose it'll matter which way around it goes. It'll either go forwards or backwards, just to see if it is actually the fan that's working, or it's actually there is a fault with the resistor. So that's that. I'm just going to put a bit more spray on there and let that just sit tight just for a second, and I want to look at this resistor to see what's going on with that. Let me get me 5.5 out, which I think is that one. So this is showing signs of lots of corrosion. This is where it's sort of pointing me. It doesn't look anywhere near as good as it should do for a sealed unit. That should pop out of there, I'm guessing. There's no tabs. I don't know if it's supposed to, if it's designed. Oh, there it goes. There it goes. Oh. I mean, to me, that's just screaming. I'm not very happy. I ain't very well. To me. So I might try and test this to see what I'm getting out of it, reading wise, and then put a battery on the pump on the blower to see if I can't get the blower to actually work, and that will narrow it down as to what's going on. I'm hoping it's nothing within the control module itself, but to me that's screaming out it's cooked and not doing very well, so I'm guessing it's this. Okay, so I'm actually getting nothing from this resistor. It's not doing anything at all. I think it's completely kaput. So I'm going to go ahead and order, do you know what, I might just order the whole lot. Let me go away and with a battery and just check this motor is actually working first. Let me do that first. I think that's a sensible thing to do. I've got some cabling. I'll just hook up a very primitive plus and minus here and just try and get this motor to actually run. If that runs, then we know that's good, and it should just be that. I'm not going to get any more resistance out of this this motor, so I think you can order a part on eBay for about £50 for one of these, and I think it's £20 extra for that. But I'm going to ring up my local car dealership. It's a copied pattern parts place, and see if they got one in stock. I'll be able to drive down there, pick it up today and fit it today. If not, it would be a couple of days and come back when I've got a new system. So I'm going to test this very quickly, and then that is a problem, I think, guaranteed, but I don't want to replace the whole lot if I don't have to. But let me test that and I'll come back. Right, long story short, short story long, is I've just been down to my van to hook up this motor to the battery. It's 12 volt. And technically, by hard wiring it, you should get that motor to spin, and it's not spinning. I've changed the wires around just to make sure it's not going the wrong way, and that's not spinning at all. So that'd be binned, or I might not bin it. I might send it to someone actually as a little gift. I know someone who might appreciate that. So yeah, the motor's poontanged. It's no good. So I'm gonna have to order a new motor. So what I'm going to do, I think I'm going to order a complete kit, and you can order one off of eBay. I think they're about 50 quid for a new complete system, blower and resistor all in one. So if in a couple of days I'll come back, and because I think a Citroen one is mega money, and I'm not paying mega money for something like that. I keep hold a bit of wire, coming handy for testing other stuff. So yeah, that's no good. So that's what it is, I'm afraid. So when I come back, I'll have a new blower and resistor, and we'll refit it, and hopefully that cures the old issue. Okay, so the donor part is now in, which I've got here next to Mrs. P, who's waiting in anticipation to see if or not it actually works. I have got another resistor coming, and the good thing is you can literally just unbolt that separately and take that out and change it. So we'll be doing that anyway. That should be here tomorrow. This is due to turn up tomorrow, not today, funnily enough, but Mrs. P said can't do it straight away because she wants the heating back in the car, so that's what we're doing. So you see me take it out. It's just a 3 or 4 bolts, one at the top, just here, one here, one here, one here, and you just literally fit it up in and bolt it up. And we've got 2 plugs to wire up, so I'll show you in a minute, and then hopefully we can test it and see if it works. So back in 2 ticks. Okay, as you can now see, that's now bolted up into place, and that's where the resistor you can just bolt out separately. So that's what I'm going to do when the new part comes. I shan't put the paneling back in until the new resistor turns up. So That's what that is. And then I've got 2 plugs which are here. Common sense, the little one goes in this one just here, and the big grey one goes in this one just here. So I'll plug that in and then we can get on and give it a bit of a test. Right, that's all fitted. So let's turn it on. There it goes. AC on. Nothing. Nothing at all. Right, I'll have this panel out next, see what's going on with that. It might be in here, but it's gone for a bit of a wonk. So let me take that out, I'll be back in 2 ticks. Right, just have all this out, and that all looks fine to me. No problems at all there. But been reading up, and apparently there's a cable that goes from here through the ignition and round, and that's quite a common fault. So I'm going to look at doing that next. Just going to take it apart, see what it looks like, and if it is that part, I'm going to order that bit up and we'll try and refit that. Okay, so I've checked all the fuses that are representing to the air conditioning blowers, and it's not them, they're fine. There is a fault apparently with the ignition on these, but it looks like it's a different model, and that's not going to be the case, possibly. So what I'm going to do now, I've taken the motor back out, which is a very simple thing to do, and I'm going to disconnect the wiring off the back, take the motor out, and I'm going to hook that up to a 12-volt battery just to test, make sure it is actually a good motor. And they haven't sent me a duffin. They said it was tested and all running, so hopefully that'll be good. And I've also got another resistor coming tomorrow. There seems to be a little bit of red paint or something on that connection there, which I'm not too happy about. I might have to give that a bit of a clean, but as I say, it was all running apparently, so I'm hoping that's not going to be the issue. Then after that, I'm going to, this is the power supply coming into the resistor, and I want to test for the multimeter, test the voltages coming through, make sure I'm getting some power down through. If not, there is a plug, where is it? Just up here, a little black plug, you see it? Just on the end of my lamp. There's a little black plug there, which is where it comes in as well. So I'm going to test all that as well, and then I'll go from there. But at the moment, we're a bit stuck. Okay, so the Citroen Picasso Grand C4 heater blower system saga continues. So what I've done so far, just to bring it up to date, is I spoke to Martin Butler, because obviously he's a man that knows quite a bit about motors and bits and pieces, and I'm not too savvy with a multimeter. That's a gospel honest truth. And he gave me a few tips just to try and whittle down what's going on. So I have got 12 volt in my battery, car starting, and everything else is working as it should do. And I've now tested the power supply coming from my control module going down to where it goes onto the resistor, just here. So that plug that fits into there, I've tested that, and I'm getting 12 volts coming through that. I've now tested, I put that plug in, and I've now tested coming out of the resistor, out of this plug, and I'm getting 12 volts through that. So that's telling me from the battery fuse box to the control panel, I'm getting 12 volts all the way down to this little plug here. I'm getting my 12 volts. So what I thought I'd do is on the old motor, I tested it on a 12 volt battery and it wouldn't spin. So I had this made up, just a very crude piece of cable with 2 connectors on the end of it. The cable's good. It's not broken at all. I just plugged those in, and I've hooked that straight up to a 12 volt car battery, which is on my van, which is working fine, no problems with that at all, and everything's working. And that motor, with that power supply going through it, that motor still won't spin. I've tried different configurations, tried swapping the wires around. I haven't put it on for too long because I don't want to burn the motor out. But no matter what I do, I cannot get that motor to turn. So that leads me to the assumption that in fact I've got power supply coming down and out to this plug here. So the resistor is fine, and all the power source coming into this plug is absolutely fine. But as soon as you put that plug in there, that motor's not turning. Which is exactly the same problem, I believe, as that one just there. Now the person I bought off of eBay, I believe it's a scrap dealer, so it may be my own fault for buying a second-hand part, but it was advertised as tested, tried and tested. However, I've tried and tested it and it don't run. So a little bit of help please. What do you think? It's a Grand C4 Picasso, 2010 model with a heater blower system is not working. It was actually working initially, all working fine, and then over time it started to become less and less reliable, and one day it's just packed up, won't run at all. So I'm in two minds what to do, because I'm not a mechanic. Do I just literally fit the old one back in and put it into the garage and get it done? Could cost hundreds of pounds to do that. Or do I persevere with this? I've already emailed the gentleman to say I believe the motor is to be no good, because I can't get it to spin off a 12-volt battery, and I would like to see that. If that span off the battery, then I believe it to be something else, but because that won't spin either, I'm a bit confused as to why it won't. As I say, I have tried different configurations, putting the wires on the other way around, all that sort of stuff, because some motors won't allow you to spin backwards, some will. But all the configurations I had was only 2 or 3 options to have had, plus and minus both way rounds on a battery, plus and minus both way rounds on that. It just won't spin. So yeah, a little bit of help please, that'd be cool. Let me know what you think I should do. Put it into a garage, just get it done and pay the bill and say sort of stuff it. Or is it anywhere else that I should be looking, or do you think the motor is actually burnt out? Let us know. But until I can get to the bottom of it, Mrs. P's car is talking to have no heating, and that's my concern, is that she's got no heating in her car. It is winter, and I might just pay just to put it in the garage and just say to stuff it and get it done. So okay, so as it turns out, just as I was about to end the video, I had a message come through from the eBay seller, and it just pretty much says, I sent him an email just to say, hi, I purchased a heater blower motor off you the other day. It turned up and I thought I would test it with a 12-volt supply before fitting. The motor does not run, so I fitted it anyway, and the blower motor is still not running. I've tested the voltage and to the resistor from my control panel, and that's fine. Also tested the volts coming out of a resistor, and that's fine also. It leads me to believe that the motor is no good. I would like a refund please, as the motor is not running. Many thanks. And he's just replied to say, I shall send you a replacement out and make sure that the problem is fixed. So not quite sure what to say about that, because he says it was tried and tested prior to selling. That rings a bit of a concern to me. However, he's been genuine enough to say he'll send another replacement out, which is cool. So hopefully he will actually test this one. It may have got damage in transit. I can't see it. So I've just emailed him back to say, can you please double check and test it on a battery prior to posting it, so that you definitely know it works. So I'm waiting for a response on that, but hopefully he'll send another one out. And if I can get that motor to spin off of a battery, I'm 99% convinced if it spins off of a battery and I'm getting 12 volts out of a resistor into the motor, there's no reason why it shouldn't run. That's my train of thought, but as I say, I'm not a mechanic. So we'll see. Anyway, thank you very much for joining me on this episode of Mixed Mowers. Don't forget to leave the comments down below, positive, negative, any tips you might have on where to look next or what to do. Don't forget to whack the old bell and hit the old subscribe button if this is your first time in watching Mixed Mowers. I'll keep you updated as to what happens, and I'll try and record it and all that sort of good stuff so that we know what's going on. But many thanks, and don't forget people, take it easy.